virtual agents is now, or chatbots, in my opinion, is one of the many components that would make up a customer experience or a customer journey for where customers will want to, or not just customers, stakeholders in general. And customers can be defined as your internal customers, your colleagues, your staff, external stakeholders like contractors, any sort of third-party agencies that you guys may or may not deal with. So whilst this conversation is about virtual agents, and some of the demonstration that I'm going to show is very much about Microsoft's AI-enabled chatbots, I think what we as Crimson have been trying to help a number of you home builders and housing associations with is look at the breadth of potentially the communication that organisations that like retailers, online e-commerce businesses like Amazon, and even social sites, how they've driven an experience and started to change the way, certainly over the last few years, consumers think about the way that they engage with businesses. That makes it very tough, or very, I suppose, interesting for you home builders and housing associations, in that consumers and either buyers of homes or tenants will expect a certain level of engagement with you guys as a business. So what's really great about some of the technology that Microsoft have pushed out and that we're sort of working with some of you already on, and some of you are already down the journey yourselves, is that actually, as well as having options for chatbots, social, and other things here, which traditionally some of you guys will already have, but traditionally you've got it in a multi-channel function. And multi-channel is basically defined as you have a number of different ways in which you communicate with those stakeholders, those customers, but they're not necessarily joined up. So traditionally, as we all know, who's sort of familiar with sort of marketing departments or care departments who have, oh, we need a response to Facebook, or oh, we need a response to Twitter. But actually, the efficiency of being able to manage all those disparate communication channels has been very difficult for you up until this point. What Microsoft have done, certainly from an inquiry and a customer services and all aspects of your business where there is interaction with different channels, is strive towards and have created this omni-channel engagement hub. So that's going to be one of the focuses of the conversation that I'll talk to you about in a short while. And the chat is very much one component of that omni-channel engagement hub. You can see sort of on my slide here my view of the world of what multi-channel is versus what potentially omni-channel is in today's age, and actually how we believe the tools that Microsoft are actually providing you gives you the ability to deliver a true experience where not only are you operating on the channels that your consumers and stakeholders want to engage with you on, but you're also responding efficiently. And it shouldn't matter moving forward in the age that we're in now what channel stakeholders and customers want to interact with us with. And also we should be providing the tools for those people behind those inquiries, your customer services teams or sales teams who are managing those efficient inquiries. They should be presented with a platform that can basically push all of that communication into one place and manage those responses efficiently. Combine that with now not just the human intervention, but artificial intelligence and chatbot automated responses, or automated responses and workflow in general, to deflect and support and aid the agents or salespeople or whoever it might be from in your example, in your world, that you're thinking for a use case for this type of functionality. I think most of you on the call, by the sounds of it, are familiar with Dynamics 365 and some of the stuff from Microsoft. For those of you that aren't, the stuff that we'll be showing today is can be focused for either in a more of a commercial sense with sales teams and inquiries. So for some of you home builders who aren't necessarily yet fully in the mix with Dynamics, this chatbot solution and some of the solution that we'll be showing can integrate directly into sort of the sales side. It can integrate with customer care and customer service, and the same goes for you guys with the housing associations, whether you're selling new homes, letting new homes, or simply responding to emergency repairs or vulnerable customers. It really can serve across the whole channel demographic. So what we're going to show today in the demonstration is a number of components. We'll show the chatbot, we'll show Microsoft's AI working and how it how effectively the chatbot uses and leverages AI to make intelligent decisions. We'll also be showing Dynamics 365 case management. So once a chat inquiries come through, how potentially that comes through to either an agent or a salesperson to actually pick that inquiry or case up. We'll also be showing how it then interacts with the other Microsoft platforms like your Outlook. Within Power Virtual Agent, there's a reporting engine, which of course is Microsoft's Power BI. And effectively, the whole of the solution is built on now what Microsoft are calling their Power Apps and Power Platform solution. So even though this is quite a simple environment that we'll be showing you today, the breadth of Microsoft's solution and how they've brought all of these things together to enable you to deliver an end-to-end customer journey and end-to-end customer experience really goes to show that, I suppose, how things have changed with technology over the last couple of years, even with this platform alone, to integrate every fundamental component of reporting, AI, low-code, no-code databases in the form of Power Platform. So hopefully that just gives you a good breadth and just, I suppose, a quick sheet dip into what I'm going to show here. As Keisha said, we've got a little section at the end to ask any questions. So the demonstration itself should take sort of 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and then we'll go straight into sort of the questions area. Okay, so here we go. Right, so hopefully now you can see the Power Virtual Agent screen. This is the first screen and sort of section that I'm going to be showing you. This is almost the landing page to where you'd land if you were to use something like Power Virtual Agents or the chatbot. For those of you that use Office 365, which I believe most of you do, you'll notice again the Power Virtual Agents has the Microsoft waffle, as they call it, and is embedded directly within your core Office 365 and part of your day-to-day or the business solution. So again, synchronicity and availability of this Power Virtual Agent is directly dropped within the Microsoft tenant and their holistic world of Office 365. This is the homepage screen is quite nice in that, I mean, I can hide my chatbot here, which is over here, but this is almost the starting canvas that already comes with a number of predefined product and training videos that you can go to actually work out how to do a number of different things. So whilst there's aspects of sort of pertinent and guided training we as Crimson help our customers with around in this chatbot, there is a number of predefined videos and resources that you can go to that will help you drive the use of this Power Virtual Agent. I want to re-emphasize as well, Microsoft have delivered this Power Virtual Agents tool and their chatbot, omnichannel bot tool, to actually be a complete, for all intensive purposes, low-code, no-code solution. So with that in theory, and when I come and show you in a second how you go about working with the omnichannel chatbot, I truly believe this is a tool that IT can quite quickly engage the business on to support delivering this solution. I also believe, to that effect, this is a perfect example of one of those solutions, like many of Microsoft's products today, where this should be a business-owned product or business-owned solution that IT enable and support the business on. So if we were to look at doing, let's say, potentially, or if you were to look to doing a proof of concept with this, I think absolutely business stakeholder engagement is key. And getting them to see how sort of easy this tool is to configure is really important, albeit your IT team may configure it inside with them, but getting them on side and showing them the capabilities, I think, is key. So across this left-hand side here is where we've got our key areas to sort of drill into the solution. The first one that I'm going to focus on is topics. Topics, what we've got here is just an example of 12 that we've turned that we've created, and we've turned various ones of them on, and we can see when they were last modified. These topics are effectively where you got the chat, let's say, chat branching logic to actually look at what route is the Power Virtual Agent taking a external stakeholder, which could be a customer or it could be one of your internal colleagues who's asking a question. This chatbot gives the branches of topics. So we can see here, the one I'm going to focus on today is housing COVID-19 repairs as an example, but you could have a topic which could be around things like opening hours or site opening hours, or as an example, marketing preferences, changing your marketing preferences via the chatbot. It's important to note the virtual agent is the AI-enabled chatbot which can do the virtual responses and doesn't require human intervention. The omni-channel piece is where you then decide that at a certain point, an agent, be it sales, service, or whoever, intercepts a conversation with the chat channel. So you can see here we've got a number of different topics and we can turn them off and on. I'll go into modifying them in a second. What we've also got is a number of entities. So these are kind of the key entities that are defined and things that, I suppose, details that we'd be capturing off the back of the chat. And then what we have as well is the ability to use, as I said earlier, Power BI as a business intelligence tool to monitor and look at the different reporting that we want to look at based on the chat engagement. So total sessions, engagement rate, resolution rate, escalation rate, etc., etc. And obviously these reports are flexible, and because it's Power BI underneath the covers, you can create multiple different types of reports and pop these as tiles onto the analytics board within Power BI and directly within your chatbot. So this is just an example of some staple reports that we would get off the back of out of the box with the omnichannel virtual agent bot, just to kind of look at what are the escalation rate drivers, abandonment rate drivers, resolution rates, engagement over time, all of that good stuff. So I'm now going to drop back to the topics and just show you how easy, when I say this is a really sort of low code, no code solution to configure, how easy that is. So what we've got with our topics, and as I said, I'm going to focus on the housing COVID-19 repairs topic, is a number of key trigger phrases that we've created. If I go to the authoring canvas, this is where someone, either depending on sort of a super user, power user from one of the business areas, or working collaboratively with your IT team, would actually go about editing the chatbot and canvas bot. So we've got the 7 key trigger phases here. So this is where Microsoft Intelligence AI kicks in. If I just show you as an example, this is, by the way, obviously, if you put yourself in the shoes of what we're doing here, this is your IT team and potentially business collaborating to edit the chatbot right now. So this isn't the customer scenario asking the question. I'll come on and show that later and how that looks potentially in a portal environment. So the first thing is that if I ask it a question like, are you doing repairs? You can see that isn't a direct trigger phrase within the trigger phrases that we've listed, but because it's called out the keywords and has asked it in a similar way to what these questions and trigger phrases have asked, Microsoft Artificial Intelligence kicks in to work out that it believes it's looking at these repairs questions and it understands that it can actually ask that. So what my ask is, you might think, oh Christ, we'd have to create 60 different trigger phrases. No, you don't. The key thing to think about is almost think of it like a metadata driven model. As long as you're putting the keywords in and asking, let's say, the key questions that are likely to be asked, it will pick up and use artificial intelligence to actually drive where it needs to go down. So across the right hand side here, this is obviously the authoring canvas that we built up on our chatbot. And we can see here the reflection of me testing this chatbot across this side here. We can actually see that it's presenting me these different options. So if I wanted to, as an example, edit this, all I need to do is add another new option and drop and drag and add is equal to and create a different message. So if I wanted it to do that, all I need to do is make a simple change like that, save that and publish that, and that will come through here onto my Canvas chatbot. The same goes, as you can see here, if I go into, yes, it is an emergency, it's taking me down that next channel and is asking me the different rules. If I say, no, I'll report it. You see this branching logic here. It really is easy to configure and to create these branching logics and trees, decision trees, that is creating these automated responses via the chatbot. So again, I'm at the bottom of the tree here. If I wanted to do another rule, which is ask a question, add a condition, call an action, or show a message, it's really easy to go and do that by just simply doing a drop and drag aspect here and creating with a low code, no code. It's just getting familiar with the tools, but the important thing here is we're not having to rely on developer level skills to actually go and configure these chatbots and to edit them. These are something that are very flexible, very fluid, very fast to move and change. So what I'm now going to do is show you some real life examples and just use that scenario there in a real life scenario. So the first thing is that I've shown you this here, which is what potentially a customer services agent might see. So put yourself in the shoes now of either your customer services team or your sales team, care, whatever it might be. This is potentially the interface that they'll start to see. And working with Dynamics. So for some of you that are working, and you'll see I'm in the omnichannel for customer service area here. And again, what I want to stress is that Microsoft have created an environment now where it doesn't necessarily just have to be chat, it doesn't have to be email, it doesn't have to be phone call, social and other channels as well will be pulling into this omnichannel engagement hub for customer service or sales users, so that inquiries pull in to this central hub here. However, I'm going to go into now, come out of where I would be as a salesperson or a customer care person and look at it from a customer's angle. So this is just a real basic customer services portal. So we're called Contoso Housing as an example. The nice thing about these Microsoft portals, and this is just out of the box available to you as part of the Dynamics 365 instance as a portal solution, yes, it can sit as a sub-site on your website and can be reskinned, rebranded to meet your brand code, but it can be reskinned as effectively, it can be reskinned and then is essentially can be used as not just a portal to look at case management or using with a chatbot, but can do all sorts of things. So for housing associations, your reservations, Homebuilders, your reservation portal, your customer support portal, defects, snags. Housing associations, it can be your portal to log in and look at your rent status, your cases, your queries, customer service issues. And again, the reality is, in today's modern age, tenants or home buyers will be looking at this via their mobile devices, and the portals will re-render and resize to a mobile device. So where the chatbot comes in, sitting on the portal, if I look here, it's asking me, we'll need hope, an agent will be with you in a moment. You can see automatically the virtual agent has popped up and asked me, practically said to me with automation, do I need any help? You can see, again, I've used a phrase that isn't a key trigger phrase. And I put here, does your repair fall under, just apologies because I put the question mark after, which has just confused it, but does your repair fall under any of the emergency? You see, because I put the question mark, it's then told me it doesn't understand what I'm saying. Sorry, I didn't understand. And it asked me the question again to take me through that next channel. So is it on emergency repair? Yes. To report an emergency repairs call, etc., or can I refer to a human agent? If I hit yes, okay, I'll transfer you now. An agent will be with you in a moment. If I go into my customer services channel here, you can see as a customer services agent or a sales agent, I've now got a chat request from a visitor. Yeah. So again, flipping back from being a customer into being the agent, human agent. I've dropped in here. I can see the chat log as an example. So again, I put that here. What we've also got across this right-hand side is the ability to, okay, Mr. Customer, have you already got an account with us? What's that account? I can go and look at that account and find that. Is this relating to an existing issue, or is it current, or is it a net new issue? and I can, once I've selected the customer, I can see all of their predefined issues and links. Obviously, we've got the KPIs that are putting on the chat itself and where it started. So if I just go back to the actual customer, what the customer sees, you can see my comment there is pushed back through. So that's one example of how, again, escalation of emergencies can be interacted with and intercepted as required. What I'm now going to do, if I try and hit close that, you can see it gives me the option of, hang on, Mr. Customer, or hang on, Mr. Stakeholder, whoever you might be. Do you want us to email you a copy of this chat log or transcript, or download the transcript so that you've got a copy of that chat log, so that, heaven forbid, you want to sort of just re-raise the fact that you've had this chat, even though it will be kept on a log from you guys, because it's in your Dynamics 365 solution. The customer themselves or end stakeholder, tenant, internal colleague can have a copy emailed to them of the chat log as required. And again, if I try and close that down, it prompts me automatically to do that. So what I'm now going to show is just is a second scenario, and how this will work. So I just open the chatbot again on the portal. So let that load again. This is where we're logging potentially not. This is how we go show it not necessarily just being an emergency, but perhaps a non-emergency that then needs to be logged as either an inquiry or a case with your Dynamics 365 solution, which then needs to be picked up by the sales team, HR team, customer care team, whoever. So let me go through the same process again. So I'm going to say no, because I don't believe as an end consumer it fits under any of these emergencies. I can take some details and an agent will be in contact with you in 24 hours. Again, we've just decided to automate and respond in this way, but you can decide in a different way as to how you want them to respond. So again, there's interacting with the virtual agent that's auto-responding and managing that inquiry for me and taking the necessary details. If I then go into my, again, Outlook window as a customer services team or customer services agent, the first thing I can see here is that we've got a notification that workflow's kicked in to push us an email notification to say a new case has been created from the virtual agent from the chatbot. So someone's interacted with us and created a case. It could be an inquiry or a sales inquiry, etc. And we've also, there's a new contact that's been added to Dynamics. So if I take that URL, again, just click that there and put that into Dynamics, you can see here now as a customer services individual, I can actually see the case details. It's got a unique case reference number. And the virtual agent, fence is blown down, here's the details, here's the mobile phone number to call back, yeah? And an automated workflow can kick into auto schedule an activity for me to follow up this customer. So that, I suppose, comes towards the end of the demonstration. Again, those of you that are familiar with this interface, this is Dynamics 365 sort of customer services, but again, if it was a sales inquiry, it can be rerouted to sales, to look at a sales inquiry, but hopefully that gives you just a quick whistle-stop tour of how effectively we can use as one of our operating channels the virtual agent tool to actually auto-respond, but also escalate to an agent and actually respond via the channels with the consumer that they want to, easily create a chatbot with your teams to actually respond to some of these things. The nice thing here, which is the note that I wanted to finish on, is Microsoft have got an initiative at the moment where they're giving 6 months free licensing to both the customer portal that I showed, the Dynamics customer services area that we showed, and the virtual agent chatbot for solutions that you as an organisation are trying to spin up that are in light of a response to COVID. So in my opinion, things that, let's say, as you're reopening sales sites or as your customer services team are going to be put under further strain because you're almost going back to a level of new normality, having that solution that I showed there is something that we can deploy quite quickly with you over probably a short elapsed time of circa 5 days. And the licensing from a Microsoft perspective for the first 6 months, providing you're managing a number of queries related to COVID in those channels and responding to some of those things, there's 6 months free licensing available for you to take advantage of. So I think, again, as a solution, you can see here it's quite quickly something that not just you would rely on potentially a partner like us to work with, but that sort of time would be getting this solution deployed with you in an environment, actually working with you on some of those branching logics and chat topics, and sharing the solution with you. Hopefully that gives you a good overview and an initial first look. And there's a lot more obviously that we could show, but as a first pass, hopefully that gives you an idea of what the capabilities are. And with that, I'll open the floor to any questions.
Thank you, George. Anyone got any questions or put anything they'd like to ask? I've got one in the chat. Are there any API limits being enforced on this 6 month free licensing option for V8 and Portal? That's from Mikesh Patel.
Good question. I'll have to double check with Simon and the rest of the Microsoft team.
We've got Simon on here, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm Simon. I don't know whether you know any sort of limitations with that free licensing on the APIs.
I don't know off the top of my head if there's API limits. I know there are soft limits on kind of logins, etc., authenticated logins, but I don't know about APIs, and those are kind of soft limits that we can apply to increase anyway. I'll try and find out, and I'll come back if that's okay.
Excellent, thank you guys for that.
No worries.
Great, thank you. Has anyone else got any questions or thoughts? We've got a couple of minutes before we'll start the next talk.
I was just going to ask, it's probably something I've missed, but the things that you say there that are offered as free licenses, is there some sort of basic that you need first before, and these are adding on tops, or all these things that you can have without any other dynamics bits? Because we have no dynamics at the moment.
So all of those components, John, which are the 3 core components, the one is the virtual agent, which you don't have to have Dynamics for, by the way. Rather than it going to a case in Dynamics, you saw how it pushed to Outlook. You could just get it pushed into your Outlook if you wanted.
Fine.
The other component, the second component, is the portal, which again, you don't have to have the Dynamics portal. You could just put the virtual agent on your website.
Okay.
But again, if you want to enable the portal, you can do. And then the third component is, of course, the Dynamics customer service end, which I showed you, where you've got that piece. All 3 of those, Simon, correct me if I'm wrong, but are still valid for the free licensing. So it doesn't matter if you haven't got one of them at the moment, you can deploy those.
So you can deploy the customer service part without other bits of Dynamics?
Correct.
Right.
But I think it's key to note as well, guys, this virtual agent can be an independent application. So it doesn't have to have Dynamics attached to it. It can be an automated chatbot that can push into your other databases or other solutions, or can just independently at this stage be managing and deflecting a number of sort of key queries and pushing that information into Outlook for then someone to respond to, either via one of your more traditional channels. So you've got, in my opinion, complete flexibility of how you go to potentially deliver this with us. It doesn't have to be wedded to using Dynamics portals or using Dynamics case management backend. You can drop this on your website and just push the queries through to your customer services agents to to respond to, or sales agents, wherever it might be.